Shalom. First, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKadosh. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone from whom I learned this truth. And Shalom to the 144,000 elect. I am Mayak Allah. And I'm going to call this one, Be Slow to Anger. And I just wanted to do this, I guess, because this is on my mind, man. And some days it's just vexing just having to get up and go down to the plantation. And when I say plantation, I'm talking about my job. So vexing just having to get up and go do that same routine. And it can be kind of, like I said, be vexing, and it's just so mundane. And that's when you just have to take that time, pray to the Lord that He strengthen you, that you keep carrying on, because even though we know we do develop a routine and we go through a routine weekly, like I said, it can be vexing at times. And that's when we just have to back up and take our time and know that things are in the makings, that the Lord is going to make a change, and we have to just be patient. But I just wanted to bring out just a few verses, and if it be the Lord's will, this won't be long. Just some things that you want to keep in mind when you feel that anger kind of building up. And it's not wrong that you feel that anger sometimes, because we know that we are not in our kingdom. This is not our rest. But you do have to be in your right mind when you see that anger building up. And like I said, you have to back up and pray to the Lord that He bring you through that day. And we don't be having to worry about the next day. Just be concerned about the day that's ahead of you. Because the next day is going to come with its own set of problems, its own set of things that's going to vex you. So just be concerned with what's ahead of you on a given day. The Lord is angry, but the Lord has a righteous anger, because look at the place that we're living in. Look how this world is operating today, operating under those that be in power. We know that the wicked are in control of this world right now. And I'm going to bring this out since I mentioned that. This is Job chapter 9 and verse 24. And it says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Meaning those wicked ones, those rich bankers that are in control of this world. When you think about the way that they have this world, they're poisoning our waters, they're poisoning the air. And they make every effort to make things difficult for you in your daily life. And at this time, this is their heaven. This is what belongs to them, and this is what they're supposed to do. They're just doing their part, and they do it well. Because when you stop and think about all the things that you have to encounter on a daily basis, and it's just, like I said, it's just vexing to you. It says, He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is He? And if you think about it long enough, like I said, I mentioned those rich bankers who are controlling this world. You know who it is, and you know who I'm referring to. But like I mentioned earlier, the Lord is angry, but He has a righteous anger. I'm going to go to Psalms 86 and 18. Salakia 86 and 15 says, but thou, O Lord, are a power full of compassion and gracious, long suffering, and plenteous in mercy and truth. And I'm going to read that in an NLT also. It says, but you, O Lord, are a power of compassion and mercy, slow to get angry, and filled with unfailing love and faithfulness. And let's take a look in the blue letter just to see what long suffering means. It is H750. And I'm going to give you a pronunciation of it.
Strong's H750. Arech. Arech.
All right, it says arek. And it says long. It says patient and slow to anger. It says long suffering, patient, slow to anger. So the Lord is slow to anger. He doesn't just jump to anger because, like he said, he's compassionate and he's patient with us. And he's plenteous in mercy and in truth. And that's what we have to be. We have to be patient. We have to be long suffering, so that it stops you from doing something rash or making a emotional decision based upon the moment. Because I know there's some days at my job I feel like just throwing up my hands and just walking out and saying forget this, But after I calm down from praying and I look at it in the long picture, the long view to realize that that's not the right thing is just going to put me in a worse predicament. Because now not only would I walk out of a job without securing another one, because I know I'm going to have to find another one, I put myself in a worse position. So like I said, you just have to kind of step back and take a moment, pray to the Lord that he get you through that moment so that you can keep going on. I'm going to go to Numbers chapter 11. And I'm just going to read a few verses here. And this is an account where Moses was listening to the complaint of the Israelites in the wilderness. And it says, and I won't read a lot of this, I'm just going to read a few verses. This is Numbers 11, verse 1. Says, and when the people complained, it displeased the Lord Yahweh. And the Lord Yahweh heard it, and his anger was kindled. And the fire of the Lord burnt among them and consumed them that are in the uttermost parts of the camp. You know what? I think I want to read this in the NLT. Numbers 11, verse 1 in the NLT. It says, soon the people began to complain about their hardship, and the Lord heard everything they said. Then the Lord's anger blazed against them, and he sent a fire to rage among them, and he destroyed some of the people in the outskirts of the camp. So the Lord had it at that point, and he wanted to send that fire on some of the people because they were complaining. He had just delivered them with the most miraculous deliverance out of Egypt, out of bondage. And here they are having the nerve to be in the wilderness after all the Lord had done for them, and to be complaining. It says, then the people screamed to Moses for help. And when he prayed to the Lord Yahweh, the fire stopped. So Moses prayed, even though they was complaining, Moses prayed to the Lord that the Lord would stop the fire. It says, after that, the area was known as Taberah, which means the place of burning, because fire from the Lord Yahweh had burned among them there. Then the foreign rabble who were traveling with the Israelites began to crave the good things of Egypt, and the people of Israel also began to complain. Oh, for some meat, they exclaimed. So the Israelites, just being so easily influenced, those who were those foreigners who were traveling with them, because there were some servants among the Israelites who had came out of Egypt, who were not Israelites, and the Israelites were being so easily influenced by their complaining that it caused the Israelites to begin complaining. That says, verse 5 says, we remember the fish we used to eat for free in Egypt, and we had all the cucumbers and melons and leeks, onions and garlic we wanted. So because they ate for free, even though they were in bondage, they were thinking back on that, thinking about their own bellies, longing to be back in Egypt, to be back in bondage, after the Lord had removed them from that and taken them away from all that. So they were just ungrateful, complaining because they missed the free food that they were getting from Egypt, even though they were in bondage. It says, but now our appetites are gone. All we ever see is manna. And manna was, and I'll read verse 7. It says, the manna looked like small coriander seeds, and it was pale yellow like gum raisin. But this is food that the Lord was giving them. This was coming from heaven. This was something that was given to them freely that they could eat. But yet, the Israelites felt they had a reason to be able to complain. That's not long suffering. And I'm going to go ahead and end that right there. I'm not going to read that whole chapter, but I wanted to read those few verses just to give you a sense of how sometimes when you don't take the time to back up and think about all the things that you should be grateful for that the Lord provides you with and does for you, how it could take you and lead you down into a road of ruin, and the Lord in his righteous indignation will destroy you. So we see that sometimes that anger can lead us down the wrong path. And there's a such thing that's called anger that is forbidden. You know, it's just the wrong route for you to take. And so, Lucky, I want to back up a little bit because I want to look at that word anger, and I'm going to look in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary just to see what the definition of that word anger is. It says anger. It says used of both the anger of man and of the Most High. It says the early Hebrews sometimes used the expression his nose burned, for he became angry. says the Most High's anger differs from man's in that it is a holy wrath against sin. So rightfully so, like I said, sometimes when we get angry, especially when we're angry at with the things that make the Lord angry, that's a righteous anger, because if it angers the Lord, it should anger us as well. But we have to be careful of taking that anger and taking it out, or a wrath in which we almost go into a rage, and that anger causes you to make the wrong decision or do the wrong thing. And we can see some certain situations just here recently where anger, coupled with maybe some mental problems, cause man to go off and to do things that he normally wouldn't do because he's in a fit of rage at the moment, such as stabbings, such as going in buildings and just shooting people. And even though we know the Lord sanctions all this death, it's still man who's going off in a fit of rage at the moment, causing him to do something that he might not do had he taken that moment to take a step back and pray to the Lord for guidance. And I'm going to read a couple more verses. Like I said, I'm not going to make this very long. And I'm just read a few verses with anger that's almost like a forbidden type of anger to have. I'm going to go into Psalms 37 and 8. And it says, cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil. So you want to be careful of anger when it causes you to go off in a manner to do some evil things. And I want to just take a look at that word wrath. And it is H2534. And I'll give you a pronunciation of it.
Strong's H2534. Chema. Chema.
All right, it's chema. And it reads the definition: heat, rage, hot displeasure, indignation, anger, wrath, poison, venom, poison, burning anger or rage. Says a hot displeasure, furious, indignation, poison, rage. All right, and I think you get the message there about what a wrath is. I'm going to read it in the NLT. It says, stop being angry. Turn from your rage. Do not lose your temper. It only leads to harm. All right, and I'm going to read another one here. Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 32. Says, he that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit, Salakia says, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh a city. And in the NLT it reads, it says, better to be patient than powerful. It's better to have self-control than to conquer a city. And that's that wrath, that's that rage that anger can send you into, where you just fly off the handle and do things being very emotional. Like a lot of the young The YNs that we see today, a lot of the decisions that they make are made out of anger and a fit of anger because of being so emotional, the way they're being brought up. They're being emotional they're being brought up to be, react much like women today. And I'm going to read Proverbs 14, verse 17. Says, he that is soon angry dealeth foolishly, and a man of wicked devices is hated. In the NLT it reads, short-tempered people do foolish things, and schemers are hated. I don't even think that needs any further explanation. The NLT brings it out very plain to you. And I just got a couple more here that I want to read. Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 9. Says, be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools. In the NLT, it reads, control your temper, for anger labels you a fool. And you've seen a man make a fool out of himself just because acting out of a fit of anger or a fit of rage at the moment. I've done it myself. And it's not a good position to have yourself in, because it makes you have to go back. And because of you were in a fit of anger and you did something or you misjudged something, you end up having to go back and to apologize for that anger. But just because you jumped to conclusion and your anger was just misplaced. You jumped to conclusion and it wasn't even the truth, the thing that made you angry. That's an example of just kind of being emotional and acting in the moment without taking the time to let that anger subside and think it through. I'm going to go to Matthew chapter 5. And I'm going to read verse 22. And this is in the red letter. So this is Yahweh Shai speaking. And it says, but I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Rakha, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. So you resort out of anger to calling names. And let's see what Raka means. And it is G4469. And I'll give you a pronunciation.
Strong's G 4469. Hraka. Hraka. Thayer's Lexicon. Related entry. Hracha. Hracha.
Hracha. And the definition reads empty. An example of a senseless, empty-headed man. That's being angry without thought. It says a term of reproach used among the Israelites in the time of Mashiach. And I'm going to see what the root of the word is, what it means, and how it's pronounced. This is the root of racha.
Strong's H7386, rake, and second entry, rake, and third entry, rake.
All right, rake says empty, vain, empty, idle, worthless. It says empty, figuratively worthless, emptied, vain. So that when you got that kind of anger towards your brother, it's like ain't having an anger without even having reason. You just want to be angry at somebody. And that's not righteous. That's not right for you to be angry at your brother that way. And of course, anytime you are feeling anger at your brother, you want to go to your brother and talk it out and talk to him. But you never want to just be angry at your brother without reason. The Lord doesn't like that, being angry at your brother without reason. And I want to read that in the NLT as well. It says, but I say, if you are even angry with someone, you are subject to judgment. If you call someone an idiot, you are in danger of being brought before the court. And if you curse someone, you are in danger of the fires of hell. So let's look up that word hell, just since we're there. Doesn't mean that you're going to burn. There's no burning hell that burns forever. It's G1067.
Strong's G1067, Gehenna.
All right, Gehenna. And I'll read the definition. It says, this was originally the valley of Hinnom, south of Jerusalem, where the filth and the dead animals of the city were cast out and burned. It says a fit symbol for the wicked and their future destruction. So it is a place that's south of Jerusalem, where filth and dead animals were burned. It's almost like a dump, a garbage dump. All right, just wanted to be clear on that, because there is no place that's called hell. All right, but just to stick to the lesson, I'm going to get back. And this will be the last one I'm going to bring out. And it's James, the book of James, chapter 1 and verse 19. It says, wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. And in the NLT it reads, understand this, my dear brothers and sisters. You must all be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. So that's something key to keep in mind when you do feel that anger coming upon you, that you, like I said, you take that time to back away and pray so that anger subsides, and it won't cause you to let something fly out of your mouth that you don't mean, especially calling names at your brother. So you want to be slow to speak, and you want to be quick to listen, because there's sometimes that just through taking that time to listen and hear a person out, that anger could subside. You may have jumped to a conclusion, like I said, and got anger without getting understanding first. And that in turn is what's called being slow to anger. But I'm going to end it there. And I pray that this lesson will be edifying to the listener. When I give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah HaKadosh. Shalom.